And now the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
I'm going to start saying my name like that every day. Like, like that.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, do it again. One more time.
No, I'm not going to do it now.
Okay, well, wait, tune in tomorrow. That's what
Did
we
you
call
notice a difference in how she says her name?
It was subtle.
I haven't listened to a thing that's come out of that chair in quite some time.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We've got a
It's Afghan
jam-packed,
Tuesday.
jam-packed show for our TV folks. We can't figure out
Got this
exactly
from my grandma's
what.
grave.
Did you say grave?
Oh, that's funny. I was going to say coffee table.
Oh.
But
one in the same.
I took it darker.
what's the difference between, and I feel like you'll know the answer to this, Gretchen.
By the way, for our listening audience, I'm wearing like a crocheted shirt that they're both making fun of me for.
I didn't say that. I said I thought it was lovely.
Okay.
Would
I
that
just
be
said it was
considered a
Afghan
doily?
Tuesday.
Yeah, doily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
My
that
great aunts used to have those, like you'd have a little doily that they would make, and then there'd be like milk glass, that white bumpy, you sit on it, and then they'd have little things in it like caramels. Or
and
red
then
hots.
you took that to someone and said, turn this into a blouse.
I want it in a size large shirt now. Yes, that's
Okay.
what happened.
Yeah, nailed it.
And then your bank said, please leave. They used
What
to
are you
wait a
doing
minute, you
here?
had red hots?
My great aunt, Mimi and Girly, they lived together. They had a bowl of red hots. They had this little, when we weren't allowed to touch it, like one of the moms had to, because they considered the milk glass like very, very valuable, but the kids weren't allowed to open it.
Play with it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents had a candy bowl as well. It had chuckles in it. Do you know what chuckles are?
Are those little chewy?
Yes, they had the audacity of carving them into orange-looking.
Oh God.
That was the best thing. And
Yeah.
but they had other old people candy in it, like Werther's and
Werther's. Yeah.
other things that have not been made since the Coolidge administration.
My great aunt, her milk glass candy jar.
I don't know what milk glass is.
It's white. It's glass, obviously. It's white. It's not see-through, and it's got all these like
So
bumps
milk glass
on
is
it.
both white and glass.
Yes.
Got it. This is what an informative program.
And
Hence
it's like,
I feel like the red yarn is.
it's coming. It's coming
that's
through.
right. So her candy by the door in the milk glass candy jar was spice drops.
Yes,
Spice
like
drops.
gumdrops.
Yes.
Terrible.
Oh my
Those are
gosh, they're
terrible.
so
Sounds
good.
terrible. So good you
Especially
like
they're
them.
like black
love them.
licorice ones. Yuck.
If I had not had them as a kid, and it's one of those memories that like the taste of it might be terrible, but I have such fond memories of like going to her house.
Well,
that
anytime
I'm
a
like,
kid is going to
"Let's
get
eat
candy,
it."
they're gonna eat it.
Matt, leave it alone. Leave it alone. All right, we've got.
Speaking of kids,
Yeah, you know what?
See?
This is
Segue.
That was a
It
good
was a
segue.
segue.
Yeah.
Would have been better if you hadn't acknowledged it.
Yeah.
We're raffling off a Segway.
We're gonna
Enter
have
to win.
Penny Meeker on the show.
Yes.
Parenting expert.
she's from Be Love Parenting, a company that she founded, and so I think that we'll get some tips for both of you. Obviously, I know everything as a non-parent, so
Right.
she's an expert parenting coach, and so
Also, for
gonna be-
those of you that do not know her, she is incredibly nice.
she is very nice.
So that is a leg up on my parenting already.
She's married to one of our favorite people, Bob Meeker,
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So anyway, it's a win-win for us.
And then we're going to dive into a hot topic in the region as it relates to
Data
property. No, we've done that.
Okay.
No hot topic, the store.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right. We're going to talk about the store.
The summer
Hot Topic.
lineup is out. It's all
is that where you
Smash
got-
Mouth T-shirts.
You got that top from Hot
I did.
Topic?
Yeah.
I did.
No, we're going to talk about
It's
property
just called
taxes.
topic.
So we've got Theresa Fedor and Allison Fiscus. They're going to join us on the program, and we'll talk and learn a little bit more about property taxes, specifically where and how they support education, local schools. Theresa and Allison are on the side of
We'll find out. I think
Yeah.
it's what
Yeah.
people are talking about. I think is a good way
really-
to tee it up.
Yeah.
What are people talking about? What are they thinking? And we've got two representatives of the community to talk about what their opinion is.
It's really
All right.
top of mind right now. So
So let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, Matt and I are going to become in the next segment. We will become better parents.
let's hope.
Is that a
Like,
fair?
It can only go in one direction.
Your kids have asked for this guest to come on. So.
Yeah, I assure you, Ruby has not.
I believe this is a direct phone call from my children. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Penny Meeker here on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back into the 419. It's no mystery. Matt and I talk quite often about the challenges we have as parents and the number of ways that we are actively screwing up our children. And so we have exactly 16 minutes to solve all of that. And there's no doubt that our next guest can help us with that. No pressure. Penny Meeker, welcome to the program.
Thank you for being here.
Talk to me about how adoption works.
For you? For you?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
I mean, so Gretchen introduced you as a parenting expert. Is that a title that you want?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, talk to me about what that means.
My background is actually in youth development. I have been in every school district in Lucas County and every school in Toledo Public Schools in my work doing programming in classrooms, after school programming, in school programming. I brought programs that are national to Toledo, so I'm a trained trainer. I have all this specialized knowledge about what is really effective when it comes to raising kids and teenagers, and I wanted to bring that to parents. So I started Be Love Parenting 3 years ago. I have just finished writing my book, so I am looking to publish
That's
it.
exciting.
Yeah, congratulations.
So there's lots of exciting things happening.
What is the book about?
Parenting.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. Small engine repair.
Yeah, that's fair. So as you're talking to a parent and you're trying to give them kind of the first steps toward identifying what style of parent they are or how to be a better parent, what are some of the core tenets of that?
Yes, so the core tenets are experiencing more everyday joy, calm connection, and raising resilient kids. Those are the three main focus. And under everyday joy, I'm looking at things like where it is that you're paying, what are you paying attention to? It's super easy as a parent to focus on all the things that are going wrong, all the ways that your child isn't behaving well or struggles that you're having with your child, and just taking that time every day to notice those little cute, when they put those two words together in some funny way, or as a teenager, I had two boys where they, just put their arm around you and say, "I love you, Mom." Sure. Or at the end of a really hard day, maybe it's looking at them while they're sleeping and remembering how cute they are.
And holding that pillow. Let me ask you a question, and this is potentially unfair, so I apologize. But one of the things that, and I have an opinion about this, is parenting more difficult now? People are constantly talking about, in my opinion, from the beginning of time, that the apocalypse is upon us, and now is somehow more difficult than it was, or things are so different. May I ask your opinion on that concept?
Yes. So the working title for my book, in answer to your question earlier, is Parenting Without the Overwhelm. In 2024, the Surgeon General made parental burnout they declared it a public health issue. 41% of parents say that they're so overwhelmed some days that they cannot function, which is twice as many as adults without kids. So I do think it is harder.
Okay.
Yes. So for a number of reasons. One, things have changed with social media. Parents have a barrage of information coming at them. It can be very difficult to sort through. And a lot of times it's coming in these little bite-sized pieces. And you're parenting a whole human. It's messy, it's hard. And it can be difficult to sort out what is evidence-based, what's not. What's going to be effective for your unique child may not be the same So Kevin, your child may need something a little bit different than
They sure do.
what
You
Matt's
should meet
kids
those
need.
kids.
There's so much
They need a
online.
different dad.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
They need something.
There's so much online, and a lot of people may actually kind of make fun of it. There's videos and things about this concept of gentle parenting, and talking to your, a kid's having a complete blowout in a restaurant or something, and the parents are, he just needs to get through his feelings, kind of thing.
I hate those parents. I hate those parents.
Is that something? What do you think about that? What is it really about?
Gentle parenting comes from counselors, and they have a very valid, science-backed approach, and it isn't the whole picture. What they do all day is they see kids who have, been hurt, have trauma, and they're listening to their feelings, so that is what they're experts in. Gentle parenting really comes from that perspective, and it leaves out sometimes the structure that kids need as well, right? If you go into a classroom, they're not spending the whole day talking about their kids' feelings.
Right.
There's a plan, there's visual aids, the kids know what to expect, they know exactly what to put in their backpack, how to sit down, what they're gonna do first. So part of finding more joy is having those routines. Because if your morning is chaos, you're not gonna be enjoying parenting a whole lot.
So I think you've answered this, and this is certainly going to out how not sophisticated I am. Not that that's a mystery, but I'd like to at least touch on conceptually, these two things are at odds. The resiliency that is in the title of your book, and also nurturing, hand-holding, coddling. And that's not, I don't mean that in a negative way either, but how are these two things, and I know this is probably a wildly complex question I'm asking, and it's the first time I've ever asked a complex question, so I think we should both be nervous.
Okay. I'm getting nervous.
What's the duality of these two things? I think it's interesting, and I don't know if I'm on one camp or the other, but are we raising people to be more resilient? Are we raising people to be more self-aware or understand that they're entitled to their feelings and how they feel? Is this a phase that we're learning how to do both of these things better? Where are we going, and how are we getting better, in your opinion, with these two things needing both to be true simultaneously?
It's difficult for, I think, people who don't work in youth development or education or constantly with kids to fully understand this. You need the limits and the structure and the nurturing. Kids don't feel safe with adults who can't handle their behaviors and their feelings. I'll give you an example. I took a group of young people to Virginia to do service projects. And I had a few parent chaperones, and I had a teacher chaperone. Her name is Betty Jo. She doesn't mind me using her name. And we had one young man who just was that kid who was always doing that little thing to push the boundaries. And she was on him. He couldn't even look at something, without her calling him out. And the other parents were a little uncomfortable with it, actually. While we were there, unfortunately, we got some news that his grandfather had died. So we were 8 hours from home. His family is very close. And Betty Jo walked up to him and just held him. And he stayed there with her. And then he walked away with her and sat down and poured out his heart. Oh. And the parents were a little bit in shock because they thought, well, he wouldn't like her because she had been so strict with her. But the opposite is true. When you as a parent provide that executive functioning that we have, that kids don't have, and we provide those boundaries and those limits very clearly, then kids can get actually more comfortable. They feel more safe within that frame. And in the book, I conceptualize it as a frame.
Yeah.
Within that frame of limits, you have all the warmth and the love and the nurture. But kids need to know where those, if not, they're constantly testing or they feel insecure.
Interesting.
I think I was describe education as a gradual increase in distance from the safety net, right? So you got kids are on a tightrope, and so when they're in preschool and kindergarten, they are swaddled in that safety net. They could not possibly injure themselves. As they get into junior high and high school, now we're talking about being able to break a bone, but you're not going to permanently disfigure anything. And you get to college and out of college, and there is no safety net. You fall. And so what we're trying to do is teach kids that resilience and comfort to sort of stand on their own. I think parenting probably follows a similar trajectory of, the rules we have for when they're very little to keep them safe versus the rules we have when they're older. I'm curious your thoughts on, that concept of I'm watching my child do something that's going to hurt themselves, whether that be physically, emotionally, certainly not permanently.
Do I let them fall?
Yeah. Do I let them fall? Do I protect them? What's the right approach?
Yeah, that's one of the concepts that I develop in my book is something that I call
Beating sensibly.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Right.
Step in, walk alongside, step back. If you look at whatever you're seeing your kid do, and it's about being intentional. When do you need to step in? Well, when they're toddlers, it's your job to keep them safe. You're stepping in all the time. With teenagers, like you said, you want them to make some mistakes. You want them to face some consequences for their behavior. And it may be important to step in if they need you to advocate for them, or they're really going through something and it's just not in their capability to handle it on their own. And then walking alongside is when your child faces something that you don't have any control over. Maybe the friend moves away, or they lose a grandparent, as I said earlier, or even
My
if
kids
they're
cannot
just
wait to lose their grandparents.
At the mall.
or they're experiencing some sort of rejection at school. It can be
Yeah.
a lot of things where you're just coming alongside of them and you're supporting them. And then all of those gentle parenting things that we're learning, that's when that comes into play. And then there's stepping back. Your kid needs to try and fail. They need to do hard things. They need to get a little bit hurt so that they know that they can overcome that. They can develop that confidence.
A lot of our, audience may be driving in a car right now with their kids in the back seat, right? And
Hi, kids.
Or someone's kids.
or someone's kids. How do you know as a parent, if you're listening to this conversation, that you're feeling too badly, that you're too stressed, that there's too much going on, that things are out of control? What is a sign that a parent would have? I mean, obviously, it's a daily grind
Because I
with
think it's
kids of
every
all
day.
ages. Right. I mean, how do you know the difference between just the sheer torture of raising kids and, like, I need a Penny Meeker in my life? Like, how do you assess
This is hard
yourself?
because it's hard, or this is hard because...
Right. Because something's going wrong, or because I can't seem to get it going.
I've had parents who we just have one session and they just want to check. They just want to make sure that they're not missing anything, that things are going okay. Usually when parents come to me, they know. They know they're caught in a cycle that it's not working. It's not healthy. They're negotiating with their toddler all day. And the toddler is winning.
Right. Is there any age that it is too late?
It's never
That's a
too
great
late.
question.
It's never too late.
Okay.
I'm working with a parent of a 19-year-old, and they're trying to figure out how to have that more adult, healthy relationship, but they have all these old patterns that they have to unwind.
We're talking with Penny Meeker with Be Love Parenting. The book is complete. It's going to be published.
It is.
And one more time, what's the title of the book?
Parenting Without the Overwhelm.
Parenting Without the Overwhelm. That
Love it.
sounds so joyous. I'm so excited. Where can people find more information on Be Love Parenting?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I do the videos and the reels. There'll be updates on books, website, and I have a newsletter as well to keep folks up to date on the book
If
progress.
you can give one message to parents right now, what's the message that you would give to them?
Shift your focus to find that joy, to remember what it is you enjoy about your child, that can make a huge difference.
And one more time for the adoption hotline.
Penny, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you
for being
much.
here.
Thank you
All right,
for
when we come
having
back,
me.
we're going to talk with our friend Candace Buckley with the Toledo-led Resource Center and talk about some of the things, talk about keeping families safe. She's doing some incredible work in the community. to do
100%.
that. We'll continue that conversation here on the other side of the break on the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen.
What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419 powered by WGTE. We're joined now by our friend Candace Buckley with Toledo-led Resource Center. Candace, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
What is the Toledo-led Resource Center?
The Toledo-led Resource Center is the region lead organization for lead poisoning prevention. So we focus on education and outreach, advocacy and awareness. We have a workforce development component. I think the one thing that we do really well is collaborating with other partners in the community.
100%.
I am such a huge fan of yours.
As
You
am
and I met through, I think, the homelessness
I'm holding
board.
out. I'm holding out judgment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
She's not holding out judgment on you.
That's right.
But we met through the homelessness board, and you've got such passion for, supporting families. We just wrapped up a conversation with Penny Meeker about, parenting and being a good parent. What was it that brought you to the Lead Resource Center?
So, I was just asked this question 2 weeks ago, and I had to sit with myself and reflect.
I hate doing that.
I know, but it takes you to that moment of, okay, how did I get here? And looking back over my career, and even dating a little before I was even able to work when I was a little gal, I always knew that I wanted to do something around poverty, something that helped children. And so looking back from my time with Ann Grady Services, it's been a lot of time there, working with children and adults with intellectual disabilities. So that commonality of housing and vulnerable folks in need of great services. Then transitioning over to the homelessness board, that commonality of people that are in need of housing and vulnerable populations. And then that took me to this current role, and I seen that common theme and reflection where I am advocating daily for families living in our community and the little babies. I just met a mom 2 days ago, and her 2 babies recently got a diagnosis of lead poisoning, and was not English speaking, but I was at an event with a translator and able to work through the resources. But that has been the consistent theme. And I didn't show up in any of these scenarios for easy work.
Yeah.
I showed up because I felt like at a very young age, this is what I was meant to do on this earth, which means that, yes, I'm going to have days that are full and that feel heavy, especially when you are meeting the end user of services and understanding their journey. But I'm always refreshed and renewed every day when I get up and come back at it because I know I'm making a difference in my community.
So I live in the Old West End, and I've got little girls, so I am familiar with this, but we never have enough time on the show, but I do want to get an elementary education about the pervasive problem of lead poisoning. Can you talk about this from a 30,000 feet and drop down?
Absolutely.
Teach us.
So in our community, always when I talk about our community, I always like to compare us in our housing stock to Cleveland. I did a roundtable with Sherrod Brown, and every time he talks about Cleveland, he talks about Toledo when it comes to housing stock. And so I had to do my research. Actually went out there and spent some time with a colleague that does similar work out there. And so looking at Toledo, any given day, Toledo Lucas County, we have 3,400 kiddos in our community that have been poisoned by lead. And those are the ones that have been tested.
That's right.
And so we have more to identify that have not been tested. Another fun fact, 80% of our housing built before 1978. I'm living in one of those. My home was built in 1952.
Can you explain why that 1978 year is the critical time frame?
Absolutely. So 1978 was the year that lead paint was banned in housing. And so, but by then, I mean, you look around our community, we have this beautiful community of housing, but it has lead in it. And that's not to say that you can't live safe in a home that has lead in it, but there are some general practices that has to be put in place in order to do so. And part of that lies on the shoulders of the Resource Center and making sure the right education, because there's a lot of myths around lead poisoning. The right education is getting into the right hands, and that parents have confidence and feel empowered to do the things that they need to do in their home settings to to lead lead safe lives.
Lead paint was used, it was pervasive. It was used interior, exterior, it was window seals, it was all of those kind of areas that it was used in homes. What is the current status of the lead law in the city of Toledo or Lucas County?
So our local lead ordinance is currently, is broken out in phases. We just got through one of our phases. I just heard a recent update from compliance out of the Department of Neighborhoods and Community Development that there are about 200 non-compliant landlords, property owners, whoever would fall in that category of single to 4-unit housing that have not complied. And so now
you said 200?
Yeah, right around 200. Now, that's definitely a huge number, but there's over 5,000 that showed up and did the right thing, right? And so I don't want to gleam the light on those folks that have complied, but now we're in that phase of enforcement. I am so honored to do this work and to be situationally positioned next to the work of the city of Toledo, because it helps me keep a thumbprint on how hard we have to continue to push to raise awareness.
And to that end, the segment on just before you was about parenting. To educate the audience about what lead poisoning does to our children.
So lead poison itself can be very detrimental. There are cases in the United States where one in particular where a child actually passed away because the lead levels were so extreme. But on a more subtle scale, cognitive delays, breathing issues, you know, sometimes, and I'm gonna use this as a very common one because I think all parents were like, oh, you go to the doctor, the kid has some breathing issues or wheezing, oh, okay, baby girl has asthma. So then the child gets treated for asthma, but then they're in the home and it's dust, you know, the dust is triggering the asthma. We gotta dust the house. Well, lead dust is one of the most common causes of lead poisoning. And so, you know, I always challenge families to push back a little bit. And part of pushing back is like, hey, there is a lead issue in my community. I'm living in a home that was built before 1978. We've done really well with maintaining it, but I think my kid needs to be tested for lead poisoning.
Talk to me about what those next steps look like, right? So you get to that spot,
Are concerned even?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's important for parents to advocate for their kids, but to know where and how to do that. What's the right next step for a parent?
So here locally, I can tell you if there's a child in the home under the age of 6, our local health department is our mandated lead screening body for the community, right? So they will screen at any point. They'll screen the child, and then that sort of triggers additional services depending on where that child's lead levels are. But as an unfortunate thing, which we're really getting better at, is amongst primary care and peds care is raising awareness within those groups. Because there are still, I always say there's these myths around lead, and some of which, and you see it more with the young gen of primary and peds coming into the workforce, where we're in front of them like, hey, this is still a thing. The doctors that, that are more seasoned and had many years of experience, this isn't a new conversation for them. And so I continue to try to educate as many people and parents as I can in every sector and system where there's an intersection.
You also have to remember, just briefly, that it's any place where your kid may be. So your house could be fine, but if you take your kid to grandma's house every day and she watches the child during the day, that house is also potentially problematic and could be causing issues and needs to be tested, correct?
And I'm so glad you brought that up, Gretchen.
Can you pretend I said it?
Okay. We'll pretend.
We can edit that out. You're welcome.
That brings me to another thought. Oftentimes you can have done very well. Let's say that you're the family that is highly educated on lead poisoning, has done very well maintaining your interior of your home, paint's intact, wood floors, and all the things. But let's say that there is an industrial issue close by you, and the issue is the lead dust blowing into your yard from this close by industrial place. And so now that beautiful play area you built for your babies, they're out there just, having the best time ever. And it only takes 3 small grains. So you think a pack of sugar, right? 3 small grains from that pack of sugar to poison a child.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, and if it is unfair, we can edit it out.
Okay.
But if we were talking about poisoning children in any circumstance, I would think there would be an all-system stop to fix this. Talk to me about why we are not providing more resources, and this isn't being considered an epidemic that we're full. These are our children. These are the people who are going to be taking care of us, right? And the future, the old adage, of course. So why don't we care enough to make this wholeheartedly stop?
I think based off of the rooms and the systems and the leadership that I've spoken with, people absolutely care. I think the greater challenge is always going to come back to resources, right, and the finances.
And sometimes who it's affecting aren't loud enough or don't have enough people supporting the change.
That absolutely. If you look at our historical red line mapping, and you look at the neighborhoods that are disproportionately impacted, and you lay those on top of each other, you definitely see some commonalities between the two.
If someone is listening today, we're talking to Candace Buckley from Toledo Lead Resource Center. If someone is listening to the show today and their home was built before 1978 and they're concerned, what would you tell them to do today? What action should they take?
If they have a child in the home, ages 6 and under, I would tell them to contact the health department immediately. If that is not the case, I would tell them to visit our website, www.toledoleadsafe.com, and to look for someone that can come into the home and be able to test the home and be able to confirm whether or not they have a lead issue in the home. And I just want to be very clear, like, the biggest challenge is also within our rental, okay? 50% of our community is rental property.
Right.
And so oftentimes I get calls from tenants, my landlord didn't do this, and my child has let, or my, this happened, that, you know, trying to work through and triage all the things. I would always advise a tenant, if you're ever on the fence, if there's an issue, you can always reach out to our local fair housing issue, and always reach out to us, because we do warm handoffs. We are also a part of our local lead poisoning prevention coalition, which is comprised of a wide array of partners that do work in this space. So the cool part about our organization, and I always tell people up front, like, hey, we're not clinical. We don't do anything clinical. But I have about 5 partners that I can refer you to.
If you don't have a child that's 6 years or under, is the home safe?
No, absolutely not.
What can be done if your home has lead in it? What can we do about it?
I feel like the first step is testing it. I can tell you that there is a resource coming on in our community where there are some funds that have been set aside to do some remediation work on housing in the community. It is very limited, and there is an eligibility criteria for it. But I would encourage folks to stay on the lookout for that. Lead work is not cheap, but it's absolutely necessary when it comes to the impact that it has on families.
That's right. We've got about 30 seconds left, which is not enough time for this question, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. What if a parent is sitting at home? I mean, obviously, you know, they're not going to look at their walls and say there's lead-based paint in those walls. But I mean, we know the age of the home is a factor, but what's something that they might see in their child that is an early indicator, like, I should get tested?
I am so glad you asked that question, because the short answer is there may be no symptoms at all.
So you got to go.
You just got to go.
call
Just
today.
assume.
Call
Just
today.
assume.
Call
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Candace,
for your work.
thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. We appreciate you being here. When we come back, we'll talk with Allison Fiscus and Theresa Fedor about property taxes in Ohio. We'll be right back on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness, because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. There is a growing conversation around Northwest Ohio and around the state of Ohio about property taxes. Whether you're for them, whether you're against them, what the impact will be if we remove property taxes from the state of Ohio. We're joined now by 2 guests with particular expertise in the area of education. Theresa Fedor, Allison Fiscus, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
What's going on? I guess let's start with, maybe let's start with, how do property taxes fund education
and services?
Yeah.
Educate us.
Property taxes are one of the largest funders of all of the things that I would say contribute to the quality of life that we have in this area and across the state. For schools, they're a significant portion. For things like libraries, parks, that's why you see those levies on the ballot. Those are the things that really contribute to our ability to live fully, happily, and to get a good education. But beyond that, they also play a huge part in all of the things that you absolutely need but don't necessarily think about. They're your emergency services. They are the fire truck getting there fast enough for you, your EMS, so many different things. They help our farmers. They have so many of the different essential services that contribute to our ability to live fully and happily.
And what's the concept that's currently being discussed statewide to change that? And if you can, why? What is the individuals that want to do that, why do they want to do that?
Well, we have a ballot initiative that was put together to remove property taxes for the state of Ohio. Yet there's no replacement. There's no concept of how we're going to replace the $21 billion that's collected locally in funding our schools. Like Allison has said, also the farmers are greatly affected. They have a calculation for their current value of their land, and that will be totally wiped away even though that's in the Constitution. So really upsets the apple cart altogether. For townships, they don't have the ability to raise any taxes through income and sales tax, so it's all property tax. That means if you live in a township, and most of Ohio is rural, right? They may be eliminated or file for bankruptcy, attach themselves to another city. But the bottom line is, you know, someone has to pay for those services for snow plowing, EMS, fire, police. So those kinds of things are totally wiped out as far as how we serve our citizens who pay taxes. And I think the most important thing that we need to think about is, are property taxes too high? I would say yes, we need tax reform. Property tax reform, but this isn't the way you solve the problem.
Theresa, you were in the state Senate and in the state House. Has this ever been at this level of a conversation when you previously served? Has this always been sort of circling around the state House and now someone's brought it to this level? Or does this seem like a completely novel new thing to you?
I love that question, Gretchen. Thank you.
Can you pretend like I asked it?
Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you for that question. I'm sure you talked about it before.
Yes, we did.
No, as a matter of fact. We know we have to have shared services, which means we have shared tax collections. And so this type of extreme solution has never been brought up. In fact, Governor DeWine put out in the Ohio Budget Management Committee a document saying that this is devastating to schools, it's devastating to our credit rating, our bond rating. This is going to have a huge impact, and schools definitely would collapse.
Yes.
Because most of their schools are funded through property taxes. And there's a reason why we're in this situation today, which we can talk about later.
Please expound upon that.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, thank you. In 1997, Ohio declared through the Supreme Court that Ohio's school funding system is unconstitutional over reliance on property tax. Here we are.
Right.
It's never been fixed except during Ted Strickland's 4 years, but the rest of it has been unconstitutional for over 30 years. 4 times.
But why is it not being fixed then? I mean, if we know for all this time.
Because 4 times the Supreme Court said it's still unconstitutional. They released their authority to oversee the legislature in making sure they had a constitutional funding system that doesn't have an over-reliance on property taxes. And what did they do? They didn't find a solution for everybody, a funding solution like the Fair School Funding Plan we now have. They've rejected that, abandoned it, and they've opened up a quasi-private charter school system. We have vouchers going to private schools, and there's no proof that those systems work. We have the money to fund our schools constitutionally, but there's no will to do it.
So I find myself embattled on this issue, right? Because I agree with the core talking points of both sides of this argument, right? The idea that property tax is a tax on potential income, right? Potential gain. It's I bought a house for, I bought a house for $100,000. It's now worth $300,000, and I'm taxed on it as a $300,000 house. I can see how that is a frustrating proposition. I also totally agree that we need core services. There are the majority of Ohioans that don't have another way to get this. I'm an education person. I believe strongly in the need for public education. I'm also a fan of ed choice, right? A fan of the state investing in outcomes and success and putting dollars in the hands of parents and taxpayers to say, you make the best decision for your kids. But like, what now?
So I'm going to lean back on my favorite terrible statistic, if you will, to kind of talk through specifically the education portion of that. Because the truth is, the numbers show us that 90% of Ohio's children go to public schools. Yet only 70% of the funding that the state provides to schools go to public schools. And so that's not about not providing an opportunity for, you know, a parent to choose. That's not about that. That's just bad policy. That is favoring one side over the other, even when the numbers are not there to show that overwhelmingly parents are actually picking public education. And I'm a product of both. I went to a private grade school. I went to a public high school. I can see the value in both of these institutions.
Same.
But I also can recognize that it's very frustrating. I'm like you. We bought our house in 2020, and then all of a sudden the value appreciated so much that our tax burden was much higher than what we had expected it to be. We also recognize that there needs to be some level of property tax reform here. We are also those people feeling it, but for those of us working within the sectors that would be, you know, devastated by eliminating property tax, our biggest concern is making sure that the people who would be potentially voting on this truly understand how deep that impact is, because to say it is devastating, it is catastrophic, is unfortunately
an understatement.
I do.
Yes.
We never have enough time, but I do want to bring this to a real life granular example, and I'll just pick random places, but I want to play it out like this passes and the timeline and what it means. So I live in Richfield Township, let's just say. I just picked a township at random. Property taxes is eliminated. Talk to me about what happens next.
Well, you have 6 months to figure out a solution.
6 months, that's right.
And the individuals who are proposing that we eliminate property taxes have provided us no answers for how that would play out.
Okay.
And some of the proposed answers, the governor put together a group to investigate what this might look like, and the answers are terrifying. He was quoted as saying, we're looking at to replace property taxes, to even begin to replace that, a sales tax that's between 15 to 18% conservatively. For comparison's sake, the highest sales tax in the U.S. right now is in, I believe, Louisiana, and it's 10%.
But remind me, give me the laundry list of services that, plans aside. So 6 months, there's going to be change for sure. That's a short window. And what things that I'm accustomed to are immediately impacted by that one way or the other? Give me the laundry list, just so everyone knows.
Schools, police, EMS, fire, some hospital services, libraries, parks, all of the things that we do to help our farmers. We're talking about the only way, I believe, Theresa, correct me if I'm wrong, that townships can levy money to exist.
I think the word that we're missing, I mean, it seems so just stupid to even say, but it's replacing the property tax. The focus is on replace. This tax is not going away. Mm-hmm. Someone is paying for these things. The residents of the state of Ohio, one way or another, has to pay for the services that we all rely on.
Is the argument that on one side or the other, I mean, is the argument that what we're paying right now for these services is too high, and that, you know, that we're over-investing in education, that we're over-investing in police and fire and parks and libraries? I mean, is that part of the other side's argument?
I think it's the culture of where we are right now with taxes. And we are in this levy treadmill. It also has something to do with Governor Kasich's not returning the local government funds back to the local governments and it was a 40-year promise. It was cut in half. We are still not where we were historically in funding, so therefore, school districts are on a levy treadmill all the time because we're not constitutionally funded. We didn't get our local government taxes back, so you've got the libraries, you got the metro parks, you got the we forgot the senior centers.
Yeah.
Senior centers.
You know, folks that you see all the time, you go, wow, there's so many levies, I didn't even know. And you go to the ballot and it's, whoa, what is this? Well, it was created by design to put all of our tax burden at the local level, and we decide, okay? That's not a real choice, because when you look at the common good for the common good, we are having less and less services, costing more and more money. Why is that? Because there's no fairness from the state capital.
But the state capital also controls
that put this situation
and they also
in play.
Control the type of taxes that the entity can collect.
Correct.
And the ways that we can. You have tobacco money, you have marijuana money, you have all of these things that are being set up in many ways, in my opinion, to punish cities or eliminate cities' ability to raise
You've seen that because you know, we collected the local property taxes, but the legislature makes the law on how we're going to do everything with them.
Right.
Now, how local is that? Is that, you know, these are mandates coming from the state which tie your hands, that you cannot have certain laws, you can't collect certain things. I mean, there is no fairness at the State House, I can tell you that right now.
So you've said that, you know, in the 90s, our educational funding system was deemed
broken.
Yeah, I mean, clearly broken, still broken. There's a need for tax reform, for property tax reform, for just general tax reform. What efforts are being done at the state and maybe even local level to do those things?
Well, I know the municipalities work extremely hard to have their voice heard. The township trustees, they work very hard at the State House, so they're practically all on the same page, but the legislators and the leadership won't listen. And that's the problem. They are not listening. And so when we talk about tax reform, this is a long-term solution. You have to have everybody at the table, which is so critically important, which is what John Patterson did for the Fair School Funding Plan, which he's going to be there and talk about that. But the same approach that I use for human trafficking, everybody was at the table. You know, the victims informed us on what laws we needed. That's what needs to happen. That model is called good governance.
Yes.
It's actually called good governance with transparency, accountability, checks and balances.
I remember that. That was great when we used to do that.
When you're talking about being there, you're referring to an event that's coming up. So we wanted to
and I do want to ask, I have gotten the great opportunity to know you during my day job as a Metro Parks employee, and thank you for your support, Allison. In full candor, you and I are friends. We both work for cultural institutions. I think both of you, I can say without a doubt, what you want to do is get people the information and do let them choose. Talk to me about the opportunities and what is coming up so people can learn more.
Okay, a very small group of school board members and myself just talking about, oh God, what are we going to do? This is a catastrophe. And
they're like my marriage.
Some of them never talk to each other in a collaborative way because we work in silos. So for the first time, we've got this group and said, we got to do something. I said, well, we need to educate and advocate, just like we did human trafficking, just like John Patterson did with Fair School Funding, where everybody was at the table. We need to start doing that, because if this happens, boy, we're just going to regret it. The citizens are going to regret it. It'll be bad for Ohio. And so we want to put together this effort of the future of property taxes, understanding the impact on Northwest Ohio public services. So we have experts. Zach Schiller from Policy Matters Ohio, excellent researcher.
Absolutely.
He's been doing incredible research on this, so he'll be there. John Patterson talking about the Fair School Funding. But the solution, and he and I talk a lot, we need to put together a group so that all voices at the table.
Where and when?
And then where is, did you hear that?
So on April 29th, this coming Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Penta in the auditorium, we will be gathering together a whole host of panelists that, as Theresa said, really represent all of the different sectors that would be affected by this. And so we're leaning upon them for their expertise. And then there will also be a lot of folks in the audience that can speak to the specific municipalities, townships, et cetera, that we have and how that will affect them locally.
Allison, Theresa, thank you so much.
Yes.
Tomorrow, 6:30 to 8:30 at Penna Career Center in the auditorium. You can learn some more information about this. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of the 419.
Every day when you're walking
You
down
laughed
the
with
street.
us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure
we're
your
together
childhood
again.
was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertain, inform, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to get out and play day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419 as we wrap up a jam-packed show with a lot of serious topics.
Yeah,
so
that's
over the
right.
last hour, we've solved parenting, lead in our community, and we've also fixed all of the tax issues.
Yeah, I think that I know we talk about this a lot, and it would probably be irritating to our listener, but we never have enough time for each segment. And we do go back and forth whether or not we should be the people talking about these issues. But,
Mostly we land on no.
but the red string between these things are parenting, lead, which affects our families, and then the sort of the global, how all these things are funded and work together. There's a lot of opportunities to learn more about the subject matter today. We want more people to come on and talk about things that are affecting their lives and making not just a region and community better, but how it works. And of course, it's going to sound trite, but it's true. It works better as we are having these conversations together. So we were lucky to have these guests on
Yeah,
today.
and we do hope, I mean, at least certainly I hope that people take this snippet, right?
Yeah.
16 minutes seems like a long time until you really start talking about something like this.
Or
But that people take the next step and do the research, go to the websites, come to these events, and get involved in these issues that are so important.
And the consistent thing about across our show is, we're bringing people on that are good people that care about the community, that are working hard to make a better version of the community that they see and they envision.
Mostly good, and you know who you are.
Yeah, that's right. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch all of it online, WGTE.org/the419, or it airs 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. Or download the new and improved WGTE app.
It's an awesome
Just
app.
Get wild.
Yeah,
get
do
crazy.
your thing.
That's right.
Do some exploring.
Huge thanks to Penny Meeker, Candace Buckley, Allison Fiscus, Theresa Fedor for joining us, and thanks to you for joining us as well on the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Retro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.